All right. Hello, everybody. I hope you can all hear me okay. So before I get rolling, let's do a sound check. Can everyone hear me okay? I have a weird setup. I've mentioned before, but I've got a weird like rat nest of cords going on here. So it's happened a couple of times where I've started and you weren't able to hear me. Okay, it looks like that we have Andrea here. Andrea, I heard that you need to go at some point, but thanks for moderating for a minute if you're able to. But I've got a little computer here. So guys, if you want to leave me any comments as we go along, any questions, I'm going to kind of like break up the live stream a little bit, like talk a little bit. I've got something to review. And along the way, I'll take breaks to answer some questions along the way. So the way the chat stream works is the chat just flies by real quick. So if you ask a question, I didn't answer it, you might want to like take a minute and then ask it again. And if anyone does like a super chat, I do get a note about those. So I'll be able to see those questions. I'll definitely be able to get to those. Otherwise, you might want to leave the question a couple times. Just please don't go like in a row like 20 times because then it clogs up the stream. But yeah, so let's chat, guys. I'm excited. It's been 500 episodes. 500 episodes. I've been doing this channel since 2012 now. A really, really long time. And I never would have imagined that I'd get to this point where I made so many. Actually, let's do a little bit of this. Let's go a little closer. That didn't do anything. Okay, hold on. There you go. And now I'm blurry. Told you guys, it's a weird setup that I've got over here. Am I still blurry? A little bit. Okay, I'm gonna have to fix this. Pardon me 1 second, guys. Let me just adjust this for a moment. Looks like we're gonna have to do it from back over here. When I get too close to it, for some reason, it gets blurry. Working. Okay, there's gonna be 1 second, guys. Let me just take a moment here to fix my camera setup. Huh. Technical difficulties, everybody. Oh, I see what's going on. All right, I got it, guys. There we go. So that should be better. Coming through clear now. Okay, perfect. Yeah, sorry about that. We got it's a live stream, guys, so you never know what's gonna happen. I was all orange before too. I don't know what that was about. So now it looks like I'm coming through in a less orange color as well. So that's all good. Yeah, anyway, so as I said, I'm going to do a little bit of chatting about Finland, answer some questions, review some honey. Let's get rolling. So first I want to talk about Finland a little bit because Finland was such a magical place. It was such a unique place to go. And I'm really glad that I did this because, I could have gone anywhere in the world, and doing a channel where I'm reviewing fruit, I think the first thought is like, oh, okay, well, you're going to go somewhere tropical. You're going to go to South America. You're going to go to Africa. You're going to go all around Southeast Asia. And other channels that are on YouTube that talk about fruit a lot, it's always like Thailand, Borneo, because that's where you get fruit that's all like crazy looking. There's some really like big, crazy fruit out in that part of the world. And although I do love doing those reviews, I love that I've gone to all those places because there's so many interesting things. People don't think about somewhere like Finland or Nordic countries or going to Europe. There's so much plant diversity out there beyond just tropical fruit. And I think that the cloudberry is a great way to mark that, because the cloudberry is so unique. It's such an important fruit to so many different cultures. And it's also very rare and very interesting, but it's a berry, and I think that's something that could very easily just be like, berries, like whatever. So I think starting things off for episode 500 without, some weird durian variety or some sort of like crazy tropical fruit, I like that because it focuses not so much on like the fruit being like really alien looking or like whatever. It's more about going into the hunt of it. And that's what I wanted to do, is to kind of like focus more on me trying to find the fruit. And I think the cloudberry was a really good one for that. Well, first I got a couple super chats here, so I'll take a break here. First, thanks so much to Jay Lawrence and I gotta scroll a little bit to get to your name, but someone else just... Jay Lawrence, that was very generous of you. Thank you very much. And so I'm scrolling here. Mr. Cesarioman, thank you very much for that. And I've inspired Jay Lawrence for planting many of his trees. Well, that means so much to me. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I love hearing that when I get comments from people who grow plants and say like, "Oh, well, I use your channel as a resource on what to grow." That is so cool. I love hearing that, because it's like I'm actually affecting what's ending up in somebody's backyard, which is a really cool feeling. Like I can't grow plants. I live in New York City. I travel a lot. I've got a cat that likes to knock things over. It's just not a practical thing for me. So to think that there are people out there who are learning about the fruit that I talk about and then going out and growing it themselves, I feel like I kind of live vicariously through you. So anyone who grows plants, I do love hearing those comments. So I'll take a moment to answer some questions and then talk a little bit more about Finland. I think that's a good time to take a little break here. M. Luca says, is there any good obscure fruits that can grow almost anywhere? That's a growing plants question. I'm sure some people in the comment stream will be able to answer that for you better than me. Tom G asks if I ever keep any of the seeds from fruit that I try. Yes, on my Patreon channel, I actually do send out seeds sometimes to people who have who are at like a certain level of Patreon status, but it's difficult. It's difficult for me to do that, particularly when I'm traveling internationally. So yeah, finding fruit and eating fruit is fine, but taking the time to strip flesh off of a seed when I am usually traveling very quickly and trying to pack in a lot to a day is very time consuming. I hardly have time to do the reviews sometimes, because I'll like go to the market and end up like with big bags full of fruit and being like, oh God, I need to get through all of this fruit somehow. So it's like doing the videos alone is sometimes kind of a time crunch, and getting the seeds out of the fruit, then cleaning it properly, packing it properly, getting everything that I need to send it without it dying, which, by the way, I'm not any expert at doing that, and then going to a post office in another country, it's hard. And I've done it before, and there's also like permits that you have to do in order to keep it legal, and it's also can be very expensive sometimes, and it ends up being quite a lot of work. So it's something I try to limit. So I don't do it too much, but I have done it in the past for patrons. I've spent, when I was in India, I did it. I collected a bunch of fruits in India and I sent it out. And being in an Indian post office in northeastern India, I think I was in Guwahati, which is like in the Assam area, like where Assam tea comes from. Going to a post office and needing to do something kind of difficult with like permits and stuff like that was a living hell. Like, it was so hard. It was crowded full of people. I had to like shove my way through to the front of the line. All the lines were like in a language I didn't understand. They had like paperwork I had to fill out. And I did this whole thing, and it was a lot. It was a lot of work. And even then, after all of that, it didn't make it. It ended up going through customs in the US, and they stopped all my packages and ended up calling me, thankfully. And I was able to like intercept the package and sort it out. But it was like, it's hard. It's hard to send seeds. And those people that are online who are collecting seeds and selling seeds online, I'm impressed. I'm impressed that people are able to do that and actually make a living doing that. Because to me, it's such like a headache to do it. So yeah, that's the long answer. But the answer is yes, kind of. When I get things in the US, in North America, that is a lot easier to do, and that I do send out more often. Okay, so I'll take some more questions here. Ken just did a super chat. Thank you so much, Ken. Ken is somebody in the past who has donated fruit to the channel. So some pepper reviews and stuff like that have all been thanks to Ken. So Ken, thank you so much. So Ken says Finland has the most metal bands per capita, and it's a tourist destination for many metal fans. I lost the scroll a little bit. Lost the question. His question is, what music do I like? And what YouTubers do I like watching? And if I'm a metal fan. I'm not really much of a metal fan, but I do appreciate goth rock music or dark wave, kind of like of that sort of world. And there is a lot of that in Finland too. What's cool with Finland is, well, I want to talk about. I loved Finland. And I don't want to like kind of like generalize people in Finland, because it's like there's so many different people I came across, and all types. But Finland is kind of an interesting place because it is so sparsely populated. Like even in Helsinki, when I went to Helsinki, you don't see people. Like you'll walk down the main street in Helsinki, and you'll see like a person here and there. Like it is so sparsely populated. And then I went up to Lapland, where there's like a person like every 100 miles. It was like so few people around. And I think because of that, people learn to be solitary. People have learned to just be able to go on their own and not need to be in a group all the time, which I actually really like. In New York, where I live in New York City, you can never be alone. Like if you go outside, no matter what time it is, like there's a crowd around you like all the time. People end up going around in like big groups of friends and stuff like that. Me, I'm more of the sort that likes to have like a few close friends. I'll like hang out with like one person at a time. I don't do like this big group friendship thing. So I kind of like jived with it. Like I thought it was pretty cool that people would just be, in small groups or alone. And the seeing people like alone but having a good time was kind of cool. And I remember I have like this vivid memory of I think it was on a bus or something, and I looked out the window, and there was like this girl, or like this young woman, probably like in her 20s or something, like decked out in black, like a full flowing dress and like the full goth get out, having a picnic alone with a bottle of wine and just like sitting there like reading a book. And I was like, yeah, That's pretty great. That's pretty great. And I actually did notice, like, going around, that you see the metal in the air. You see that metal music or goth music kind of like in the culture there. So like, even though things were like so sparsely populated, you don't see a whole lot of people. You do see a significant percentage comparatively of people who like that sort of thing, or people who look like they like that sort of thing, where like black like me. So it was kind of interesting, because in New York, like, I hang out in the more like punk neighborhood sometimes, like St. Mark's Place and stuff like that, and you'll see a couple, and that is like where that culture is. And you'd think with 1,000 people going down the street like every 10 minutes, you'd expect to see a lot of people like dressed like that. And I think there's actually more in Finland. So even considering that sort of population was not a big population there, you kind of get the idea, like, oh, that person probably listens to some metal. The music I do like, like I do like a bit of like dark wave sort of stuff, but I like random music. I like my classic rock. My favorite musician is probably David Bowie, but I'll also just like randomly go down a rabbit hole of music and just go through the full discography of a band. Like I went on a Violent Femmes kick for like a while. I was listening through all of their music. It's like pretty random, but not something that's really on the radar. I really like the Residents, which is a very odd band. Like they're like avant-garde, and I highly recommend them. They're a great band, but listening to their music is kind of like digging for treasure, like on an alien planet. So you like find so much music that is like weird, like spoken word stuff and weird sounds, and not anything like that you really want to like tap your toe to. But then if you really dig, you'll find music that's like great, like really, really well put together, but kind of strange music. That's why I like that about it. I like kind of going through a discography of a band and just seeing like what kind of treasures are in there. Which I like about David Bowie too, because there's like the music people know, like Let's Dance and like China Girl and stuff like that. But if you really dig into David Bowie, you find like weird stuff that's also like really good. So that, I hope that kind of answers your question, Ken. And thank you so much, Ken. Really appreciate the super chat. So I see a few other super chats in there. Thank you so much. I don't see the name of the person who just gave $25, but thank you so much. It's a big help to the channel. That was Jay Lawrence. I saw the Jay Lawrence. I thought I saw another one come through as well, but it was Jay Lawrence again. Oh my God! Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Yeah, guys, the generosity of all of you means so much to me. For those who give to my Patreon or buy my merch from my site, thank you so much. I smile every time you guys buy something, and just like, you don't need to. I mean, no pressure to buy my stuff, but like those who have, thank you so much for supporting. And Andrea says that Johnson also gave $10. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, and Brian said that they said, can I give a shout out to Hayden? Hi, Hayden. How you doing? Okay. So one more question here, and I'll talk a little bit more. Actually, I'll probably do the honey review next. The Copia asked how I know Destin from Smarter Every Day. I don't know Destin. I'm familiar with the YouTube channel. Smarter Every Day, by the way, is like a huge science-based channel that supports me on Patreon. They're like a mega contributor. He gives like a pretty decent chunk of change to my channel every month. And I think what happened with Smarter Every Day is he came across one of my videos and just liked what I was doing. He's a science-based channel and kind of wants to support, people believing in science and supporting the science and doing things for the greater good of the world. And he saw what I was doing, like documenting fruit, as something that was valuable to the scientific community. And it was like an honor just to have that, and for him to want to support me for doing that. So I think that's how he came across me and why he wanted to donate to the channel. And I got like a few, we didn't like no crossover or anything, but I think he mentioned my channel on Twitter or something like that, because I got like a little boost of subscribers at some point. People are like saying that they found me through Smarter Every Day, and I don't think I was in any video comment or anything like that, or any shout out like that, but I think he like tweeted about me or something. So yeah, that was like a big help to the channel, and he's been on the channel for like years now, I think. Wow, Reed just gave $100. Reed, thank you so much. Let me take a moment to read this. I think this live stream, if it ends up being just taking questions, that might end up being that way. I will talk about Finland a little bit more in the app streams as well, because we're going to be in Finland for a little while. I didn't get as many videos as I did like when I went to Africa or anything, but I did find quite a few. Found a cool several cool berries when I was there. So we'll get into that in a bit. But I want to answer Reed's question here. Reed said, "Thank you for the amazing content. I've gotten to see some amazing places and gotten to hear some amazing stories through your videos. Looking forward to the next 500, and good luck on your future adventures." Thank you so much. That really means a lot to me, to get that kind of support and for the nice words and everything. And I hope so too. That's another question I get a lot is, how long I intend on doing this, or what am I going to do when I can't find fruit anymore? And guys, there's a lot of fruit out there. There's a lot. The number of fruit is kind of hazy, but the quote that I've been sticking to, I got this number from the book The Fruit Hunters by Adam Leaf Golner. So I guess like he did some digging on it. I haven't been able to back it up, but it sounds about right. There's something like 70,000 to 80,000 different species of edible fruit in the world. So yeah, like I can literally just like sit on my couch, and if I could transport every fruit in the world to my apartment at will, I still wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to do it all. I would, and having to go and travel and find everything, it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible for one person to eat all the fruit in the world in one lifetime. So they're presuming YouTube still exists by the time 1,000 episodes would come around. There will be 1,000 episodes, provided I can keep doing this. So at the rate that I'm doing things, it's like about 100 episodes a year. So if I'm still doing this in 5 years, that means we'll hit 1,000, which I don't plan on giving up within the 5 years. I mean, who knows what's going to happen within 5 years, but I hope I can keep doing it for another 5 years. So let me take, I got a few more super chats. So I'm going to take a look here. And I've lost those super chats. If someone wants to put them back down below for me. Okay. Mark said, "I really appreciate your videos, and I'm not even a fruit lover. Your long form videos and documentaries are my favorites. What was my inspiration for starting the channel?" And that was Mark, by the way. Thank you so much, Mark, for the contribution and the question. How I was inspired to start this channel, it's let me see, like I mean, I've been interested in fruit for a long time. I was raised vegetarian, so I've always been kind of like very curious about food. So that was like one way for me to find something exciting to try like all the time. So I'd always like go to the supermarket and ask my parents to, if they say I could buy anything. I would always go to the produce department, like pick a weird fruit at Wegmans. I get like a horned melon or something. So I was always interested, even when I was a kid. And then when I got older and I started performing, for those who don't know, I'm a professional like circus performer, sideshow performer, basically. So I started traveling for work. And that brought me to Malaysia. So me in Malaysia, already interested about fruit. And I was just astounded by the amount of fruit out there. I was just like staying not too far out of KL, and you go to a fruit and vegetable market, and it's just like this crazy amount of tropical fruit, and I was finding so much that I decided, like, why not? I'm gonna document this, just because like I was just doing it for myself, finding fruit and reviewing it for the fun of it, but then I was like, why not? Let me just film this. And what I actually initially wanted to do was just have a travel vlog. I actually made a few videos of me just talking about like what I did that day. But amongst that, I did a couple of reviews of just like food and like snack food and stuff like that, which if you watch the playlist on Jared's Junk Food, those are those episodes. Like some of those are I think a couple of those might actually be before I filmed any fruit episodes. It's like some of them are very old. And then I started coming across the fruit, and I started filming that. And when I didn't post them or anything, I kind of figured I would post them on YouTube. But when I looked back at the footage later and watched it back, I was like, well, me talking about my day, pretty boring. Me talking about this food, that's kind of interesting. But the fruit, I was just like, this is perfect, because there's, at the time I didn't realize there's like 80,000 fruits out there. I figured like this is like something that has an end. And I think I actually went on Yahoo Answers and typed in like how many fruits are there, and it says something like 1,000. I was like, oh, like maybe this will be like a good idea. Like I'm gonna eat all the fruit, like every single one. So I was like, let me see how many I could find in Malaysia. And I started filming the episodes and just posting them on my YouTube. I created a YouTube channel and started posting it just for the hell of it. And over time, people started watching it. It took a while. Initially, like no one watched it. And then slowly it just built. And so here we are. Here we are. That was 8 years ago. 8 years ago that I started doing that. And it just kind of snowballed. But what was great is that the interest was there. Like I was already like a big fan of trying new fruit, and then I was given this opportunity to keep doing it. So so that is one thing where I again want to thank you guys, because if it weren't for like this interest that you have, this would never be happening. Like no way in hell. I was doing this for me, and just like to get the funding to keep doing this and everything was just like it wasn't going to get to this level. Maybe I'd post a video every now and then, but doing 3 a week like I am, and going to all these countries like I have, it's been 25 countries, that never would have happened. Again, thank you. So let me take another question. Is that another $99 bid that just came in, or is that the same one? Okay, that was Reed. Okay, I was gonna say. There's Mark. Okay, I think we are up. We are back to we're caught up. So let me take a moment, guys, and do what I promised and review this Cloudberry honey. Now this is really interesting, and if you have any questions, go ahead and you might want to hold off like a little bit. If you have a super chat anytime, I'll go back to that. Otherwise, if you have a question, you might want to hold it for a second, because I probably won't be able to see it, because I'm gonna focus on this honey for a bit. And What's cool about this is that this, at least how it was described to me, was sold to me as honey that is specifically collected from the flowers of cloudberries. So it's cloudberry honey, but it's not honey that's flavored like cloudberries that had like cloudberry extract put into it. These are cloudberry flowers, which are just like, they don't look like too much. They're like little white flowers that I guess beekeepers, like however they do their magic, they have a field of cloudberries, I guess, and specifically are collecting the honey from bees that are eating from cloudberries or pollinating cloudberry flowers. So that's pretty cool. I was like actually a little bit skeptical about this, and maybe still a little bit. It just seems like that's a lot of trouble. But this was expensive. I forget exactly how much, but it was like more than $10, I think. And this thing is teeny tiny. So it better be from cloudberry flowers. And I actually got this at the Cloudberry Festival in Ranua. So in the Cloudberry video, if you watch that, I go to a Cloudberry Festival, and all around it's cloudberries. Well, actually, it's not. It's all around. It's a festival, but amongst the festival, there are vendors selling cloudberries and cloudberry products. Yeah, there's one thing I talked about in the episode. It was surprisingly like not as cloudberry centric as I thought. My comparison was going to the Pawpaw Festival, where everything was about pawpaw fruit. That was in Ohio, and like it was like nothing but pawpaw. So I had that image in my head that I would be going in there and just being like met with cloudberries in all directions. And it wasn't. It felt like a regular street fair, but with a little bit more cloudberry going on than maybe your typical market. So one of the vendors didn't have fruit, but they had honey and jam. And this is like a honey that they produced on their farm, I guess, or maybe not farm because you have to collect it in the wild. Or however, so let's give you a close up of it. It's a nice color. Nice amber color. And I'm kind of hoping that this tastes like cloudberries. I took a little taste of it when I was in Finland, and I haven't had it since. I kind of like don't really remember what this tastes like. I don't recall it tasting like cloudberries, but maybe. It smells like honey. It smells like normal honey. I've got a spoon somewhere. I dip my fingers in honey. That'll make a mess. Okay. Got a little baby spoon of it. That's pretty good. This does not taste like, the bear, the little bear that you squeeze to get honey out of it. It doesn't taste like your supermarket honey. It's got a very strong flavor to it. It's not like, I think when you get cheap honey, it kind of tastes more like syrup, like sugar syrup. This has got some stuff in it. It's got a strong honey flavor. It does not taste like cloudberries, like hardly at all. But it does have something in there. There's something in here that's not in your traditional honey. It tastes kind of like it tastes more like, what is that cereal with the lizard on it? Do they even make that? Like Smacks, like Sugar Smacks, or like the one with the bear on it. It's like puffed barley, Sugar Crisp. Tastes kind of like Sugar Crisp. Not exactly, obviously, but that I think is like puffed barley with honey on it. And I think it's making me think that because this has a little bit of like a wheaty, barley, grainy kind of flavor to it. Yeah, that's good. I think this would be good on bread. I don't know if I would. I guess it would be okay in tea. Like you can have like barley tea. But this would maybe go better with something that already is like has wheat in it or a grain in it. So if you were to put this on like pancakes. That'd be really good. Put on waffles or something. That's what this would be good for. I would imagine also would taste pretty good with berries. So get yourself like some pancakes, put Cloudberry honey on it, and then sprinkle some like fresh berries on it. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with it. That's pretty good. And that was something that I was intending on putting in the Cloudberry episode, but decided it was getting a bit long. So I have the bit with the Cloudberry jam, and I wanted to kind of put more Cloudberry products in it. I was thinking of getting some Cloudberry tea. There's Cloudberry candy. It's Cloudberry wine, or maybe it's not wine. It's like a liquor made from the berries. I was thinking of getting like all the Cloudberry products and doing little reviews throughout the whole episode. But I think that as I was kind of like thinking about it as I was in Finland finding cloudberries, I realized that was maybe not the route I wanted to go with. I wanted to go like more towards the hunt. So yeah, my thinking on it was going to be like a little bit more like the Coco de Mer, where I do like a deep dive into the history, into the fruit, and instead I ended up turning the camera the other way a little bit more in this episode. So I decided to cut that out. But the intent was to get this and then buy jam, take it home, buy the wine, buy candy, and like all of that, which are all things. Like you can find Cloudberry like everything. Like there's Cloudberry candy. They have like little gummy things that I saw when I was there. I didn't try the wine. That would probably be good. Pretty interesting. I don't drink, but it'd be probably an interesting flavor, I'd imagine, because they already kind of have like a honey sort of flavor to them. So I'd imagine maybe it tastes like a little bit like mead or something. Okay, so I'm gonna take another look at some of the questions here. If I got any super chats, if a moderator would repost that for me. I only see I think what happens is depending on how much the super chat is, it'll stay there longer. So I'm still seeing the one that Reed gave. Okay, Hypnotic Scourge asked in a super chat, will I go to the Watermelon Fest in Arkansas? I didn't realize there was one, but watermelon is I don't want to talk too much about it, but I have some plans for watermelon, because watermelons are kind of a thing, beyond the fact that, they're a fruit that people eat, it's kind of a thing. Like, go on YouTube, search watermelon, and you will just be like accosted with thousands and thousands and thousands of episodes of people doing like these extremely like clickbaity watermelon things, making it explode, cracking it like an egg, like infusing with vodka. Like, there's a lot. It's very oddly like a YouTube rabbit hole. There's so much that I think I might address that in the future. And it's also kind of the reason why I haven't done, I think, any episodes about watermelon. Have I? I don't think I have. I thought about doing watermelon seeds for Eat the Whole Damn Thing month, which I did a while ago, where I ate parts of a fruit that are normally thrown away. You could roast watermelon seeds and eat them. They taste good. So I was thinking of doing that and actually film the episode. And I was like, watermelon's too big. I think watermelon could be a bigger episode. So maybe I need to go to that festival. That way I can do a little bit more digging on watermelon, because I think that might be a big episode at some point. Okay, next super chat from Brian Kim. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you for your videos. My character and personality make the video special. Well, thank you so much. He says, please make a video tasting the Tayberry, which is a black plus raspberry mix. I'll look into that. Berries are like, especially when you get into like bramble berries, like raspberries, blackberries, all that. There's so many. There are so many. This channel could just be about that genus of fruit. and I would have like never-ending content on it, all the hybrids and stuff like that. So I would like to. I'll take a look for that. Thank you, Bryant, for the question. And okay. I don't know if there was another one there. Oh, here we go. The Quasa Self asked in the most... if I were to start a cult based on fruit, which fruit would I pick as the object of worship? Oh, that's a good question. If I were to start a fruit cult, what fruit would I choose to be the object of worship? I think the easy answer would probably be durian. Maybe because that's already kind of a cult. People almost worship durian. So if I was going to make my own cult, it would have to be something else. See, my favorite fruit is actually the lucac, which is all because I'm already part of that cult, which is a variety of durian or different species of durian. What kind of fruit? Like the ackee would be a good one because that is one that already has things built into it. Like it's delicious, but it also has an element of danger to it. So if somebody kind of strays from the flock, you make them eat one unripe, set them straight. There's already like a bit of there's a little bit of ceremony to the fruit and the preparation of the fruit. But maybe be a good one for it. I have to think about that one. I'm not too sure. There's some pretty interesting ones out there. Like ackee is a big one. Baobabs are a good one. Oh, Coco de Mer. Coco de Mer deserves a cult. Coco de Mer really does. I changed my answer to Coco de Mer. I mean, it's got the history already, and people thought it was the tree of knowledge. So, I mean, yeah, I think Coco de Mer needs a cult. I think I would do that. It needs that proper respect given to it. Okay, I think I see another one here. Oh, that was a cult question. Okay. So, Jamie Anderson. Oh, I lost it. Oh, here it is. Jamie Anderson said she thanks for letting us explore with you, and that she planted some pawpaw seeds and she hopes they take. I hope they take for you too. Pawpaws are so good. For those that don't know about pawpaws, they are a North American fruit and they are absolutely delicious. They're related to fairly distantly to things like the cherimoya and soursop and custard apple, sugar apple, stuff like that. But very different at the same time. And the flavor on them is like so unique. It's like creamy and custardy. And depending on what tree you get it from, because they mostly are forage, they have a vast array of flavors. And I went to a Pawpaw festival where they had a tasting table full of them that people were growing special cultivars of them. And some of them tasted like tropical fruit. Some of them tasted like sugar. Some of them tasted like berries. There's such like a spectrum of flavor for the pawpaw, and that makes them like super appealing. So I hope that your pawpaw grows, and I hope that it ends up tasting like really unique and amazing. One thing I heard about pawpaw seeds is that they're kind of difficult to grow. Like you have to do something to the seeds first. Like you have to like put them in the fridge or something. I might be wrong about that. I remember hearing that they're kind of tricky. So I'm wishing you luck with the pawpaws. And let me take another question here. Griffin C. I think Griffin C wasn't repeating. Has his own question. Griffin C is also a moderator. He asks, "What Australian fruits do I want to try the most?" And like there's so many that I kind of want to be surprised with Australia. There's a few that I've been wanting to try, like like a lot of like different like berries and things like that. But in Australia, they have what people call bush tucker food, which is like food that Aborigines would eat. I'm not sure if that's an acceptable term or not. I'm kind of like not entirely sure about that, so I apologize if that's not. But bush tucker food is, I think that's something that where I'd probably find some surprising things. So I think I would like to go on like a tour or something, or go out and kind of go and forage in Australia. I'm kind of excited about that, which I plan to do. I was going to go to Australia this past March, but yeah, that didn't work out for some reason. So I'm hoping that maybe not next year, next March, but maybe the following one. It depends on where the world is when that comes around. But hopefully soon I'll be able to get to Australia. As soon as I can, I'm going to, and I'm going to, I'm sure, find a ton of stuff. There's so many cool things in Australia. Okay, so let's let me take a look here, and I've got some notes here, and I was going to talk about a few things. So let me talk about a few things here. Few little things about my episodes coming up for the next month, because the next month is going to be Finland. As I said, I've got about like 10 fruit videos coming up, and I found a lot. And what I wanted to talk a little bit was like just the process of finding things in Finland. So first off, getting around in Finland was really cool, because I drove a car. If you watch the Cloudberry episode, I'm like driving in it, and that made the trip. That made the trip. If any of you go to Finland, get a car, and especially for Lapland, because everything is so far apart. There's like no way. I mean, there's probably like a bus or something, but it's so sparsely populated. I wouldn't count on that. So having a car made a huge difference. And what is interesting about it is that they drive on the right side of the road. So that's often not the case, especially in Europe. Like I've never driven on the left side, and I'm kind of scared of that. I'm not like the best driver in the world. I don't drive too much here in New York City. So driving on the opposite side, it kind of freaks me out, won't lie. So going to Finland and just being able to drive on the right side, that was such a nice thing. One thing that you have to be careful with, though, is that most people have a manual car. So it's like stick shift. You gotta know how to do that. So in preparation for my trip, I did reserve a automatic car. So I didn't drive the whole time. I didn't get a car in Helsinki. I flew into Helsinki, and then I took a domestic flight up to Rovaniemi. I hope I'm saying that right now. I'm saying it wrong in the video. It's not Rovaniemi. I think it's Rovaniemi. And I got a car from the airport there, and I specifically requested that it was automatic. But I was paranoid. I've never driven stick shift, and I had this nightmare scenario of getting there and being like, it being like any kind of rental car in the US, where you go and they're like, oh yeah, we gave you an upgrade to a manual car that is an SUV or like a minivan. No extra cost to you. They always try to make it seem like it's an upgrade, even though it'll like absolutely ruin your day and cost more money in gas. Yeah, so I was kind of prepared for that, just because I'm so used to that happening in the US. So I learned from watching YouTube. Like I watched like so many YouTube videos, like what to do with that third pedal, like how to use the thing. I was not fully confident about it, like whatsoever, but I did learn, and I have like a little cheat sheet of notes. And when I arrived to the desk in Lapland, they were like, "Oh, sure, we have it for you." It was so easy. It was so easy, and having that car made everything such a great experience, because so much of this was just exploration. And when you see me in the video for the Cloudberry and also episodes coming up in the future where I'm foraging other berries, a lot of that is just random. I would just drive down the road, the main road. There's like one main road that goes from the bottom to the top of Lapland. I just drove down that road, and I would just take a side road when they would pop up, and often they would be like gravel roads off of those. And I would just like go and then walk into the forest, look around, and find stuff. That happened a few times, just like totally random, like no tip or anything. I would just like go. And a lot of the things that you find that you'll see in the upcoming videos, like I found bilberries, huge, just like the forest floor is just carpeted with bilberries as far as the eye can see. I found it randomly, absolutely randomly. I just pulled off on a random dirt road and started looking around, and I found them. And that was such a satisfying way of foraging. It's just like I had a list of things I wanted to find, and I was like checking them off, and not a lot. There's just like a couple dozen things that I was really looking for, and I found, like I said, 10 of them, mostly from doing that, mostly from just like keeping my eyes open and looking for things. And a lot of it was the foraging process was kind of interesting. I didn't have much to go by. So what I did is I downloaded photos of certain berries that were out there on my phone, just from like different angles, like a picture of the leaf, picture of the berry. So I would know that, I wouldn't accidentally get like a look-alike that would kill me out in the remote regions of like a forest, So I had the information of what to look for. And I also put down the English name and the Finnish name for the fruits. That way, when I would go around, like if I went to a market, I can ask them like, "Oh, do you have the crowberry?" And then be like, "We don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, well, here's the Finnish word," and like say it to them or show them the word or a picture of it. So I had that in my mind if I needed to, and I actually had to do that a couple of times. Like go to people and ask and show the picture, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we call that this," and try to find things that way. So it's a bit of like the foraging process. And what happens when you're foraging is that you kind of get into this special like you get this whole different perspective of the world. You like look at the world through like these like glasses. So as I'm like walking around, I am just like looking around constantly, and I would see like some sort of little berry, and I go to that and be like, okay, like I was able to. Oh, sorry to interrupt, but we have a cat. Just want to let you know, there's a cat going on. Yeah, so I was like looking at the world through like a different light in Finland, and that's how I found things, just from keeping my eyes open, having a reference, having. Okay, she left. Having the names in case I need to ask at a market, and from doing that, I ended up finding all that I did. Yeah, some of them are pretty rare. There's a few rare ones. One thing that I see, there's a couple super chats. I'll get to those in 1 second, guys. I see you there, but I also wanted to mention that one question I was getting in the comments on the Cloudberry episode, which I wanted to address, is apparently there is another berry in Finland that is like the Cloudberry, but better and more rare, which I found out about. I wasn't aware of it until I started researching Cloudberry, and then I learned about it. So I was aware of it when I went to Finland. And this is called the Arctic Bramble. And the Arctic Bramble is a different species. It is a little red berry, and it is much harder to find. So it's like the Cloudberry is elusive berry. This thing is even more elusive. It's even harder to find. and I really wanted to find it. I really, really did. It felt like I was playing a video game, and the Cloudberry was like the end boss, and I like finally beat the end boss, and then I found out, oh, it's got another form. It's gonna turn into like Dracula is gonna turn into like a giant bat or something, and now I had to go and fight that. It's kind of what it felt like. It was like, okay, I've got Cloudberry, but also there's this bigger thing that I have to look for now that's even harder to find. And man, did I try. I really tried. This is one where I had to have it on my phone. I went to markets. Anytime I saw somebody with Cloudberries, I asked them about it. The name in Finnish, if I remember, I had to learn it. If I remember correctly, is Mesi Marja. Something I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but Mesi Marja, something like that. And I would go up to people and ask about it, and they'd be like, "Oh yes, I know about that." You're not going to find it. Every single time, every person I spoke to about foraging, everyone I spoke to about fruit at the market, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, you won't find it." Like it was just like not even like maybe. Cloudberries, they're like, "Oh yeah, you can find Cloudberries. You'll find Cloudberries. They're hard to find, but you'll find them." The Arctic Bramble, they're like, no. There wasn't even like a glimmer of maybe. They're just like, you will not find it. And I think that's partially because they are so rare, but also when I went last year, I guess it was a bad year for berries. So even Cloudberries were kind of tricky at that point. So finding something that was like the final form of Cloudberry was just not going to happen. So now that's on my list. So even when I left Finland, I already was like, I got to go back to Finland. I got to go back and find the Arctic Bramble. So I don't know if I'm going to go back to Finland. I would like to. I really loved Finland, but I might go back to at least Nordic Europe, or I might go to Norway or Sweden, or other places where you can get that fruit. I'm going to have to do kind of what I did with the Cloudberry and try to pinpoint the best place to find it. And I think maybe if I do that, I'll have better odds. But yeah, it seemed like finding it in Finland was just not going to happen. So yeah, but it's on my mind now. Now it's got to happen, but maybe not anytime soon. Maybe not this year or next year, because I do want to go to other sorts of areas. But yeah, it's definitely on my mind now. Okay, so I'm gonna take another question. I think there was another super chat there. Okay, I see it. So Angela Goodwin, she said, we have many similar berries in Alaska, including cloudberries, and they have the Arctic bramble. Well, that's good to know. I've never been to Alaska. I've been to, I lost the count. I think I've been to 46 of the U.S. states. I travel a lot for work as an entertainer. I work with like a traveling circus sometimes, so I'm like always going to different states. So I've been to most of the states, but the two places that I haven't been to, I haven't been to probably 4, but the 2 places that I haven't been to where I think would be really good for fruit, but I just have not found work there, are Hawaii and Alaska. Alaska would be amazing. To go berry hunting in Alaska would be really cool. And going to Hawaii would also be amazing. There's like so much there, and like the fruit collectors in Hawaii are like hardcore. Like I can probably find like 1 million episodes worth of fruit if I visited collectors in Hawaii. So it's on my list, and it's something that I already have funded through Patreon. It was a goal on Patreon for those that don't know, Patreon is a way that you can support the channel. People contribute to the channel on there. And if I get a certain amount of contributions, then I will go to another place. So one of the goals was like, if I reached a certain amount, I would go to Hawaii. And it just hasn't been working out. Just scheduling wise and everything, it just hasn't been working out. And I was planning on going this winter, and then didn't work out this past year. So it's still there. I still have the funding. I don't have to worry about it. It's paid for. I am planning on going to Hawaii, but it's gonna have to wait. It's gonna have to wait a little bit. But now I got to go to Alaska too. And let's see, I've got another super chat. Brian Kim, thank you so much. I think that Brian gave a couple of times, contributed to the super chat. So thank you, Brian. And he said, Ken Donsky, please send Jared the Infinity Chilies. So that wasn't a message to me. That was a message to Ken, but I'll relay that. Ken, I don't know what he's talking about, but anytime, man. Anytime. Ken actually just was emailing me the other day with something that he wanted to send me too. So Ken has been a good contributor to the channel for fruit. And so thank you, Brian, for giving him a nudge. And I think there's one more. Yes, I see it there. Laser Grenade asked, if I had to eat a fruit every day for the rest of my life, what would it be? That's a hard question, because as much as I enjoy fruit, I'll get sick of it real quick. I'll get sick of it real quick. It would have to be something that is probably pretty boring, probably not anything too crazy, because the fruits that I tend to like the best end up being the ones that are the strongest. And those are ones that after a while I probably wouldn't want to eat. So I would maybe go with something that is a little bit lighter, maybe satisfying to eat. Oh, I know, rose apple. I would eat a rose apple every day and not have any problem at all, or any of those sorts of fruits. It's from a genus, Syzygium. Syzygium has like 1,000 different species, more than 1,000 different species, and about like 90% of them taste almost exactly the same, where they're just like really mild in taste, maybe a little bit floral. Some of them maybe have like touch of like pear sort of flavor to them. I could sit down and eat like a bucket of them. They're just like so light and refreshing. I would eat those without thinking twice. I think I could probably eat those like every single day and not get sick of them. And they're also like a really productive tree too. Like you see them everywhere when you're like going around. Like I saw them everywhere when I was in the Seychelles and in Jamaica. I saw them a lot, and yeah, you see them all over the place. So if I were to ever like grow stuff, like if I lived in an area where I could grow it, I would probably have one of those trees, because the sort of thing where I would just like put a bowl of those like on my kitchen counter and just be like throughout the day, like grab one and just like eat it. And some of them have no seeds too, so you just like eat the whole thing. So yeah, I think that's probably my answer. Maybe not the most exciting fruit, but it's going to be the one that I would not get sick of. Okay, looking at a lot of questions scrolling by here. People are talking about olives. Olives are a fruit because they have seeds. That's true. I haven't talked about olives yet on the channel. I've attempted to a couple of times, but it just didn't. Yeah, I couldn't get myself to go through the whole process. But one day I would like to go and get like a thing of green olives and do the process of that you need to do to pickle them in order to eat them. Like to like salt them or oil cure them, or there's like a whole ordeal that you have to do to green olives to make them palatable. And one day I would like to do that. But yeah, I've tried once, and they sat on my counter. I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it off. They're green. They'll last a while. And then they all went bad. So, yeah, it didn't work out. And I haven't done it since, but I'm going to. At some point, I got to do olives. Olives, I could do like a whole hour-and-a-half episode on olives. It's like such a huge thing. But, yeah, it's going to happen at some point. So I'm going to take another look at my little sheet here, talk a little bit more. I'm going to take a couple more questions. If anyone has any other super chats, those I'll definitely get to. But if you have other questions, I'll take those as well. But you might want to wait a moment because I'm going to start talking about something. And what am I going to talk about? I wanted to talk a little bit about... that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about my next episode that is coming up. And this is something that I've gotten some questions about too. And historically, when I've made a milestone episode, like hitting 100, 200, 300, etc., I have had the next episode be a top 10 video of other fruits that I did. So I did the top 10 best fruit, top 10 worst fruit, top 10. I did actually best and worst twice. I did weirdest looking, weirdest tasting. And this time around, I think sequentially, I should be doing another top 10 worst. But I've decided not to because, I have been doing this so long and I've had so many different fruits on this channel. I've done so many episodes that, well, one, like it's hard for me to keep that memory in mind. Like, what is the worst now after I've had like hundreds of fruit? It's hard to gauge. I know what number one will be. I know what number one will be, but everything in between, I don't even know. I don't know what it would be anymore. And also, it's a relative thing. I mean, maybe less so with the worst, but with the best, it definitely is. Like, sometimes you want something that's just sweet. Sometimes you want something that's just like sour, or like has a complex taste or whatever. There's like such like a relative thing to it of like what you're in the mood for, like what makes something good is such a fuzzy thing. It made sense when I hit 100, when I only had 100 fruit to pick from. But now that I have over 500, it's just too much. So for the last time I did it, when I did episode 401, I did the best, but I only did the best from the past 100 episodes. But which it fixes the problem, but a little behind the scenes on like what helps the channel are these videos. Like, top 10 videos are very popular and is something that brings in a lot of people to the channel. Like, top 10s end up being smiled upon by the YouTube gods. Like, the YouTube algorithm likes them. So people are drawn to those videos that normally are not watching my channel, and then they subscribe. So it's good to make videos like that, just for the health of the channel. But when you're only talking about the past 100, that doesn't really help them. It may be a little bit, but that's more of something that for people who are already watching. And I kind of want to attract a bigger audience. I want to put those videos out and get more people to watch the channel than already are. So I decided that's not really the best way to go either. And plus, worst fruit is kind of a picky thing also. The last worst fruit video I put out, it did get picked up by the YouTube algorithm, and kind of in a negative way, because people came to that video not knowing about my channel and took it as like I'm knocking fruit. Which is, I mean, I kind of am. I'm talking about things that are very like relative to my experience. I'm talking about things that are reviewing fruit as it is in nature. Like, this is a channel that is about documenting species of fruit. So somebody who is, so people are getting a bit offended by me saying like, I don't like this. They're like, what do you mean? That's delicious. You're just not preparing it properly. It's like, that's not what this channel's about. I mean, I prepare things properly when I can, but a lot of times I can't. It's just all about documentation. So I don't want to do those videos anymore. I think that's a little too hairy. I don't want to offend people, and I'm not making a criticism of fruit that, like, once you prepare it, it tastes good. Yeah, so I didn't want it to be taken personally. So I don't want to do best or worst. I don't even want to do really top 10. But I came up with something that I think will be fun, and I think people will like it. I'm going to do a, like, not top 10 overall, but 10 kind of like greatest hits of past episodes that I've done. So this is going to be the weirdest fruit in the world episode. So it'll be like a top 10 video, like a compilation video, but not in any particular order or type, just weird in the sense like it tastes strange, looks interesting, has an interesting use to it, interesting history to it. Like nothing, like there's a glove, the gloves are off with that. Like it could be anything that makes that fruit interesting, and that will end up in the video. So these are, I like went through like past episodes and just like which ones kind of like stood out to me, and I chose 10 that I thought would be interesting for a variety of reasons, and I put those in it. So I think that will be a way to be appealing. You know, it'll attract people to the channel who don't maybe want to sit and watch a 30-minute video about a berry. I mean, they might want to just see, you know, a short 10-minute video where I talk about 10 different fruits. That's a little bit better for the YouTube algorithm. But I also think it is maybe for those who have been with the channel for a while, it'll be a way to kind of like look back on things that I've done in the past that you may or may not have seen. And also, I think I didn't do it so much this time, a little bit, but I might also give a little bit more information or tie episodes together. You know, like I did a little bit with the one that's coming up. Like I talked about the Blueberry. So the Blueberry, I reviewed it twice. I reviewed it unripe that I got from a supermarket because people eat it in India. They saute it with spices. And I reviewed it in Madagascar, where it's growing wild everywhere. And I could talk about both those experiences in that video and kind of like have that connection through voiceover and by putting the footage together. So I kind of like that, being able to kind of create a compilation of the different episodes and put them together in some sort of structure like that. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be interesting, and it's a way to kind of like answer the top 10 sort of episode and kind of like mark the occasion of having another 100, but also looking back and seeing some of the things that I had along the way. And if it does well, I might do them more often than every 100, because I mean, I can make so many episodes like that. So maybe I'll do one like every 25 or something. I think there's going to be several of them. I think I'm probably done with top 10 best, top 10 worst, unless like there's, you know, a protest about it, like people really like them and want me to bring it back, then maybe I will. But it's it's a little too hazy, you know, for me. So I think that's going to be what's going to be going on going forward. So I saw another super chat here. I'm going to answer that. Angela Goodwin, she said the Arctic berry in Alaska is called the Nagoon berry. And there's also the wolf willow, which is a variation of Russian olives. Interesting. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the contribution. And yeah, I'm excited about Alaska. I definitely have to do it at some point. Good to know that I can possibly find the Arctic bramble, because that'll be, you know, the easiest place for me to get to. You know, especially what's going on in the world now. You know, if traveling is still not really a possible thing to do come next summer, I hope that's not the case. But if it is, I'll go to Alaska and look for Arctic brambles. So that would be a good answer to that. So that would be interesting. And the Russian olive thing also, that's cool. You know, coming up, that's like an interesting, for those that don't know, I think this is what it is. The Russian olive is similar to the autumn olive, or the gummy berry, or the Indian olive. The Indian olive I spoke about on my channel before. I had that one. It's probably the rarest of most of those. The one that she's talking about, I'm not too sure. But it's one that only grows in like northeastern India. And I had that one first. The other ones, they grow like in New York City even. Like you can find autumn olives in New York City. And I found one of the rarest ones first. And I'm kind of like working my way backwards, because then I had the gummy berry just recently. Haven't shown that video yet, though. I haven't posted it. And I also have found the autumn olive just recently. And the autumn olive, just a few weeks ago, actually, I actually found that growing in New York City. Like it's here. So it's something that it's a very interesting fruit species. They look kind of cool. They look like they're like little berries that look like they have like silver glitter on them. And you can eat the seeds. They're kind of a nifty one. And I kind of like that I'm finding them, but kind of finding them in the opposite direction that I would expect. Because usually it would be like, if I'm trying to find all the species in the world, you'd think I would be starting with the easiest ones. But instead, it's kind of going all over the place. So now that I've kind of had 3 different types, I want to find more. I want to kind of like check off more. So that's definitely one to look for in Alaska. So thanks for the suggestion. I've got another one from McGlenn Johnson. Said, have I ever tried Rowan berries or mountain ash berries? They grow all over Norway, and people make a jelly or spirits out of them. So, yeah, I guess I should probably reveal it, because I don't think I did an episode preview for the Cloudberry. The next episode is going to be the top weirdest fruits. I don't know if I put a preview in there. The next one is on Rowan Berry. So I did have it. I found it in Finland. Rowan berries are an interesting one because they, or at least species related to it, grow in North America. Like I've seen them. I didn't know they were edible. And the European Rowan berries, those ones I found in Finland, I think on my first day there, or my second day there. I found them fairly quickly and filmed it. And those ones are interesting because you can't eat them raw. If you eat one off the tree, it's like incredibly bitter. You have to go through this whole process of boiling them with sugar and stuff like that. You have to like make a jam out of it. So I attempted to do that, and there's going to be like me reviewing this episode in several different settings, because I had to go through a process of making them edible and trying them. So it's going to be a pretty in depth sort of episode. But the answer is yes, it's coming up, and I even found a couple of ones more recently in North America, which I'll also reference in that video. Different North American species. It's an interesting one. And I think that's all the super chats for now. There are a lot of other questions coming in though, so I don't want to leave anybody out that isn't donating. So I will watch the stream for a second. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. I'll take a couple more. Sip of tea. We've been going on for a while, guys, but this is a time to celebrate. Have I considered doing an in-depth pawpaw cultivar review on different cultivars? I mean, I did review several in the pawpaw episode. I think pawpaws are worth revisiting because they're such an interesting fruit. I think it's something that I would like to maybe do like a foraging episode on, or something like that. I went to my microphone is falling apart. Give me 1 second here. So I hope you guys can hear me. I'm going to just kind of fix this. yeah, I think it'd be interesting to revisit pawpaws because they are one of my favorite fruits. What the hell did I just do? Broke my microphone, guys. This might be a sign that I need to probably end things fairly soon. Ever wondered what my microphone looks like? There you go. So my microphone's broken, by the way. My cat knocked it off when I was filming once, and I had to put it back together with tape. It's something I should fix in the future. I also don't have a very good stand for it. So that's so everybody who's, I'm gonna make that a thing for the near future. Then everybody who contributed to the super chats, thank you so much. I think you just bought me a new microphone. I think this thing has had its last fruit review, I think. So thank you for that. And some people have told me I need to get a lavalier mic, which I'm hesitant about because I feel like it's going to get in the way. And I've heard that having ones that, because they have a cord to them, they're like one that clips on your collar, and it gives you much better quality. But then I'm going to be like tethered, which I kind of don't like that idea, especially since I do traveling videos. And then there's also wireless ones, which I'm not wild about either, because I've heard what happens with those. For some YouTubers have had this happen. They'll have one clip to them and they'll film like whatever they're doing, and then they play back the footage and then find out that the battery in their microphone died. So they'll have no sound. So I'm a little hesitant about getting a lavalier, but it'll probably greatly improve the quality of the audio. So yeah, I think that let's give it in the next month or so. I'm going to look into some new audio options. But yeah, so let's take a look here. I will take one more question. I'm looking as it's flying by, guys. If you have a question, just let me know. Dylan asked if I do any other jobs besides YouTube. I am a professional contortionist and sideshow performer. It's kind of odd. Nothing to do with fruit whatsoever, but it's oddly linked to why the fruit videos are happening. Because I was traveling as an entertainer and started vlogging for fun and ended up doing video reviews on fruit. So that's how we ended up where we are now. And I kind of like it, especially, I haven't been performing much lately as an entertainer because of the state of the world right now. I've been doing a couple like virtual events and stuff like that, but there's not much work I could be doing now. Most of the work I was doing was, indoor events, and that's not really happening now. So, and traveling was a lot of it. Like I'd be getting on a plane and traveling all over the country to do shows. That's not really happening. I can't really do that. So it's greatly reduced. I still work a little bit as an entertainer during these current times, but not nearly as much. So having YouTube is great because it is so different than what I do. It's nothing to do with, eating fire, swallowing swords, and doing contortion and stuff like that. It's like as far from that as you could possibly be, but it's still creative. Like it scratches the itch of creating like something to put out into the world. So I'm so grateful to have YouTube right now. Besides just like financially, it's helping me. It doesn't make a ton of money, but it's kind of like, I don't have to be on unemployment. At least I can get by. And also it's fulfilling that creative need that I have, and that need for performing. I love performing. Like it's so much fun. It's such a satisfying thing to do. So having this is it's very fulfilling for me right now, especially with how tricky things are and how difficult it is to like go outside and stuff like that. I am absolutely grateful to have it. So thank you all once again for sticking along with me through all of this. I know that there's not maybe as much travel footage going out as of late, which I'm going to fix that temporarily with the Finland. But it's hard to travel right now. But there is at least still lots of fruit. Still fruit. Everyone has been kind to who's been sending me things in the mail, and I've been foraging a lot, and I've been finding a few like interesting species, or not species, but cultivars of fruit here and there, like the apple videos and plum video that I put out. So there's still plenty to do, even without the travel. But it's definitely what's going on right now with coronavirus has definitely affected things with the channel, but it's not going to stop it. And that's definitely not, because I enjoy doing it, and even without traveling, I still have plenty to review. So I think I'm going to wrap things up. Let me take I'll take one more question. I think I got all the super chats, but if I missed one, please let me know. And let's see. Okay. I've got a question. Oh, that's a good question. What happened with the fake milk face-off? Still doing it. I'm still doing it. So I bit off more than I can chew with that. If you watch the fake milk face-off, I know not everybody watched that because it's got nothing to do with fruit. Well, very little to do with fruit or plants. But I was pitting two milk alternatives off against each other and finding who's the best one, or which one is the best one. But I had the brilliant idea of then orchestrating dramatic scenes with the milk where they're battling and referencing different movies in doing that. And because that's just like how my mind works. Just like, I want to do this. I had like this idea. It takes a lot more work. And I was making those initially to give myself more time to work on the Cloudberry episode. I wanted to put little filler episodes out where I didn't have to do too much editing. And then I was like, oh, but I got to do this. I got to like do these reenactments. So because of that, it ended up taking a lot more work. And I made a few of them, but that took me away from the Cloudberries. And what was supposed to help me have time to do the Cloudberry ended up taking all the time away from doing the Cloudberry episodes. So now that I'm done with the Cloudberry episode, I can now look back and do some things that take a little bit more effort, including the fake milk face-off. Initially, I was putting them out once a week, which I don't know how I did that, honestly. They take a lot of time. Now I'm probably going to do like one a month, and I have just gotten all of the stuff that I need to do the reenactment of a movie scene that I like to do with these particular milks. So I've got it. I haven't filmed it yet, but I filmed the actual review of the milks themselves. So that's done. So it's like halfway done. And that should be like 2 weeks, maybe like 2 weeks. And then like the next one after that will probably be like a month. So yeah, it's going to take me a little bit of time. But now that I'm done with episode 500, it gives me a whole lot more time to work on other things. So I would like to bring that back, to do that once a month. I think that's what I'm going to do. Like every Friday is going to be a non-fruit episode going forward. That's probably something good to end on, by the way. What to expect in the future. We're in Finland right now. So every Sunday and Wednesday is going to be an episode on a Finnish berry. Then on Fridays are going to be a grab bag. It'll be sometimes something in Finland that's not a berry. Like I've got a few videos where I'm reviewing snack foods. So, and some traditional foods in Finland. That will be on some Fridays. But then I also will have the pepper reviews. I will have a fake milk face-off, hopefully within the next week or two. I want to bring back the Cabinet of Curiosities videos. I've really had a good time with those. If you haven't seen those, I collect odd things. I collect oddities, and I would kind of like deep dive into objects. Some things from countries I've been to, some things I just like picked up, off of wherever, eBay, something that has like an interesting story to it. So I was kind of like doing like deep dives into objects, kind of like how they used to do it on Ripley's Believe It or Not. So I want to bring that back. And I think that's going to be it. I think an amazing plants as well, where I'm talking about something that is a plant but not fruit. So I'm going to kind of stagger those. So once a month, you'll get a pepper, a plant, a cabinet of curiosities, and a milk, and a junk food. So it's more than 4 weeks, but I'm going to kind of like stagger those things as best as I can, and kind of keep some variety on Fridays. And then Wednesday and Sunday, you'll get the fruit reviews from Finland. Okay. Well, guys, I think that is about it. Been talking for over an hour and a half. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me on this huge milestone of 500 episodes. I never thought this would be a thing. I never thought I'd get this big, get this quantity, this quantity of episodes. Like it's so many, and I feel like I've had so many amazing experiences in this time. And going forward, I hope that I can make another 500 and reach, the episode 1000 at some point. So yeah, and thank you everybody who has contributed to the super chats. It really is amazing. Your generosity will really help out the channel. And thank you everyone on Patreon who supported. You paid for the Finland trip, so thank you for that. And thank you everyone for all the great questions. I'm sorry if I didn't answer everything. I will be doing more live streams going forward. I'd say like would try to do also like once a month. I'd like to do a live stream. So if I didn't answer your question, sorry about that. But next time I will. And again, guys, thank you so much for sticking with me. Those who are new to the channel and everyone who's been here for, some of you have been here for years. Really appreciate it, all the support. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye, guys.